everyone, I'm Oksana Rudko and this is my brand of knitted bags, Lee Accessory. In this video tutorial, we will be knitting this very stylish Vivienne model together. Right now I have it available in 2 colors. A bit later, I'll show each of these bags and comment on them because the calculations here hardly change, but the bag looks different, especially in terms of width. The purple lavender one is a bit taller. Why? Because the cords have different densities, and because of this, the overall size of the product can sometimes change. The bag is crafted in a very trendy and fashionable shape with this wonderful strap. As you can see here, we have the option of double adjustment on both sides. So you can make the handle as long as you need. The bag closes with a magnetic snap. I'll show you that as well. Now let's take a look at each one. What colors, what sizes, and what it looks like inside. The first one I made is a bag in the color latte. Here, both the cord and the leather are in the color called latte. This is exactly how it looks from all sides, giving you a complete view. We have a double leather strap with an adjustment, as I mentioned before. It closes with a magnetic snap, which we sew onto the lining. The process of sewing the lining will all be demonstrated in the video lesson. As for the dimensions, if you measure along the curved part like this, it's about 51 centimeters. But if we're talking about the visual length, it's 46 centimeters measured at the center. The height is about 17 centimeters. That's if we're talking about this part where it bulges out. And if we talk about this part, here we have 27, 28 centimeters, even 28, 29. The depth of the bag in latte color is 12 to 13 centimeters. Now the bag in lavender color. The cord is in the color lavender. The leather is violet reptile. This one is also double layered. Magnetic clasp lining inside. Everything is there. I crocheted the bag using the same calculations as for the latte colored one. The only thing I did was add a few more rows so that this rise would be the right size. I didn't change anything else, and in my opinion, with my calculations and my video tutorial, it will be easy for you to crochet all the elements without getting confused by the numbers. For experienced crafters, it won't be a problem to change something if needed. The main thing is to keep yourself in check. What did you change? Which numbers, so that you can check yourself later? The bag, by standard width, measures approximately 48 centimeters in length. But visually, when you look at it, it's about 44 or 45 centimeters. The height is also 17 because I adjusted it to match the size of the one in latte color. And this part here is also 28, 29 centimeters. The depth of the bag is also about 12 to 13 centimeters. So its main difference is the width. The width is a bit smaller. The bag is not difficult to make. We work with a single pattern, which is technically simple and suitable for beginners. I explain every step in detail. Each row will be clear. Sewing it together, everything is accessible. So even if you're a beginner, you'll be able to handle this model. The main thing is to give yourself time to master the pattern and not be afraid to redo your work, because that's completely normal. I actually redid one side of my first bag completely. That's it. Next, let's move on to the list of materials and tools and start our work. Let's talk about the materials for our handbag. We will need a 3mm polyester cord. It has this kind of flat structure. I'm holding the lavender color in my hands. Each skein is about 110 meters, and we will need 4 skeins. Give or take, you might have about 20 meters left over, but some people might use up all 4 skeins.
It all depends on the tightness of our crocheting. The cord has no core and has a rather soft, elastic structure. Now, let's talk about the leather fittings. We have a very interesting shoulder strap that can actually be adjusted in length to fit your needs. It will be sewn onto the bag right here. And thanks to these sturdy and thoughtfully designed buckles, the length adjustment can actually be quite significant, so it will comfortably suit any body type and any personal preference. I really like, just like on my beige bag, these straps. They hang down so long, giving the bag a distinctive and stylish look. I shortened the handle almost as much as possible, and I like it that way. Someone else might prefer a different combination. You have the opportunity to improvise here. Next, we have this kind of magnetic clasp. It's also on leather sewn on tabs. We'll sew them on with a needle and thread. And here's the fabric for the lining. I managed to find a lining that's very similar in shade to the cord. By the way, it's calico. I rarely use calico, but this one looks high quality. It's quite dense, so it will hold its shape, and I like fabrics like that. You can also use, for example, linen. You can use satin or cotton. From softer fabrics, I sometimes use staple or poplin. It's up to you. These are the main materials, yes. And now let's move on to the tools we'll be using and directly to our work. As for the tools, here's what we'll need. Thread that matches the color of your yarn, ideally the same color as the cord, because we'll be stitching the cord. And yes, we will be hiding the stitches. I'll show you how, but still, when the thread matches the color, it's better. A piece of thread because it's more convenient. Next, a measuring tape. Of course, to take measurements, we need crochet hooks. The main hook that we use, the one we work with, is a size 4. Here is the size 4 hook, a 3.5 as well. We'll need it, for example, to weave in the ends, or there might be a situation where your cord is quite thin and you can't tie it any tighter no matter what you do. You want it to be tighter, but it just doesn't work out. In that case, use the size 4 or the 3.5 hook. I'll talk a bit more about crochet tension later on. The only thing is that every cord has its own density. Each color, some are a bit denser, some are softer. And because of this, the size of the finished item will vary. And also because of the tightness of your own crocheting. If you can control your crochet tension, you can't do anything about the thickness of the cord. Next, we'll need some pins, but that's for the stage when we're sewing in the lining, attaching the strap, and the magnetic clasp. We'll also need these kinds of stitch markers, a needle for sewing knitted pieces together. I have a plastic one and also a metal one. It doesn't matter which one you choose. Both are comfortable to work with. Make sure you have a lighter to seal the ends because the cord tends to unravel. And you'll need scissors for cutting fabric and small ones for conveniently trimming the ends and so on. That's the main stuff. Maybe you'll need something else along the way, but that's the main set of tools you'll be using. So now, with all of our tools ready, we'll move on to working directly on our project. Let's start working with the cord, which is an important part of the process. Now we're going to crochet the first part of the bag, either the front or the back panel, depending on your preference. Take a moment to make sure everything is set up properly before you begin crocheting. They're absolutely identical. Once again, about the cord. Here, for example, is my lavender cord. It's thinner than the latte cord used for the beige bag. This particular one is also noticeably softer and not nearly as dense as the others. That's exactly why I'm quite sure that the overall size of this specific item will actually be a bit smaller compared to the rest. I'm allowing a margin of error of 2 centimeters. This is exactly for those whose cord varies like this, and it will vary. Here is the knitting density, and again we can adjust it ourselves and influence it. I provide standard calculations for the item, but there will be a point where you can add rows. I'll explain all of that. So there's no confusion because we have a lot of decreases, increases, and transitions here. And if you change the number of rows, you might get confused. That's why I'm explaining how to help yourself with this.
Let's get started. Take hook number 4. We start with a slip knot. How do we make it? We place the short end of our cord over the long end. Like this, we already have a visible loop, but of course it's not fixed or secured yet. And we carefully fix and stabilize it with the thumb of our left hand, making sure it stays in place. We stretch the working yarn over the index finger. And with these fingers, we help a little, holding it in place. We insert our hook from underneath, like this. We grab the working yarn like this, and as you crochet, your hook moves in this way. We catch the working yarn, pull out a loop and tighten it. Tighten the loop as well. It should be short, not long. This is our starting loop. We don't count it, but we start our crochet from it. We need to make 33 chain stitches and 1 turning chain. Let's make them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, 18, 19, and 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 33 main stitches, and the 34th is the turning chain. For those who are just starting to knit, we need a turning chain at the beginning of every row. At the end of each row, you move to the next one using the turning chain. I'll come back to this point later. Let me show you how to count the chains. It's actually quite simple to count them. A knot. This one doesn't count, it's just a knot. We start counting from the first one. Here's a chain. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, the 14th, 15, the 15th, 16, the 16th, 17, the 17th, 18, the 18th, 19, the 19th, and 20, the 21, 22, 23, 24, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, and 34. Turning chain. This elongated loop that's on our hook doesn't count. So all the loops are counted except the one that's on our hook. The row of chain stitches is done, and now we move on to working our pattern. Right now it's too early to measure the length of the row. We need to crochet a few more rows, and only then can we start measuring. So the pattern. Our cord is flat. It will start to twist, so you'll definitely need to untwist it. I'll show you how I do this, and you'll need to do it quite regularly. It's just a feature of this type of crochet. So we insert the hook, watch closely, here's our chain, and from it comes our working chain, the loop. We don't touch this chain, we move on to the next one. Here's the next one, under its top bar, like this. So the chains are facing us, and now the top bars will be used. We insert the hook under the top bar, grab the working yarn, and pull up a loop evenly, meaning the cord shouldn't be twisted. Without working it off, we insert into the next chain under its top bar. We pick up the working yarn again. You see, I carefully lay the flat cord on the hook and try to gently pull it through flat as well. Now we have 3 loops on the hook,
and we crochet all 3 loops together. We need to crochet tightly, quite tightly, nice and firm. Once again, we carefully insert the hook, not into the next chain that is directly under the top bar, but instead into the very same chain where we have just finished working. At this point, we gently pick up the working yarn and pull up a new loop through the chain. Without crocheting, we insert the hook under the next one. We pick up the working yarn and pull it through. Now we have 3 loops on the hook. We yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. We repeat this process. First, we insert the hook into the last stitch, the one we just worked into. We pick up the working yarn and pull up a neat loop. Without crocheting, we insert the hook under the next one. We yarn over and pull up another loop. There are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Right now you can't really see the pattern yet. It's too early to look at it. Let's continue. So each stitch will look like this. We insert the hook under the bar of the current chain, the one we've already worked into. At this point, yarn over. Without crocheting, we dive into the next chain, the one that hasn't been used yet. Yarn over with the working yarn, pull it through, and crochet together all 3 loops on the hook. Again, we insert the hook into the chain where we just finished the previous stitch. Yarn over with the working yarn and pull up a loop. Without crocheting, insert into the next one. Yarn over with the working yarn, pull through, and crochet together all 3 loops on the hook. Make the loops quite short. In the first row, it's still a bit difficult to guide you here. In the next rows, it will be clearer and I'll show you what to focus on. This way we crochet to the end of the row. That is, when crocheting each individual stitch, we carefully do it in precisely the same way as I demonstrated earlier, just as I showed you before. And one more very important point. These loops here, the top ones, should be short. That is, after you make the stitch, this loop should be short. If you pulled it out too long, just tighten it. Let me show you now. We make a stitch. Insert it, pulled through. See, the yarn got twisted. I highly recommend not neglecting this. Twist it. And we do the next one. Make a stitch. Pull through. Now we have 3 loops. I grabbed the working yarn and made the stitch. And this loop should be short. It really should be short. Keep an eye on it. Don't make it like this. Well, that's just for example. So I want to draw your attention to this. We keep knitting like this until the end of the row. At the end, we'll definitely go through it together, and I'll show you how to transition to the next row and what the knitting will look like in the following row. And we'll keep moving forward. So the first row is done. It's a little twisted right now. Don't worry about that. It's perfectly normal. And now we have just one last stitch left to finish. Here, this is the very last loop, the final chain. Please pay close attention. We don't touch this little knot at all. We only have this one loop left. How do we attach it? Well, actually, just the same way, identically. We insert the hook into that chain under its top bar, which has already been worked. We catch the working yarn and insert the hook into our last chain under the top bar. We catch the working yarn, pull it through, and work off all 3 loops on the hook. And a small nuance, but a very important one. We make one more stitch into the same loop so that we have the same number of stitches we started with. That is 33, not counting the turning chain. We insert the hook into our last chain, the one we just made. We catch the working yarn and pull it through. We have 2 loops on the hook and we work them off as a single crochet. Now we should have 33 chains. Let's count them. Let's count from the beginning. Here are our braids and you can see them clearly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. And this stitch is never counted. there are 33 stitches. If you don't have that, it means you missed something or knitted something twice. So unravel it and knit it again. We make a turning chain, like this. We turn our work. Right now, it doesn't look very clear or neat yet. That's normal. Look, the cord is twisted. I'll show you how I untwist it. Since I don't have much knitting yet, I can demonstrate this on camera. Here's what I do next. I twist this twistiness towards the knitting, towards the fabric. Like this. So you see, it twists really well for me. And I always untwist it to have an even thread. This is important and we really emphasize it. Next, I hang the knitting and this is how it untwists. When the fabric is small, this is a pretty quick process. When it's bigger, of course, it takes a bit more time and patience. This is how we untwist it. I'll show you one untwisting, of course, but I won't keep doing it on camera. That's it, the thread is even. We've made the turning chain, turned the work. Next, we'll be working the stitches through the full loop. These top loops are turned away from us, but we crochet into them. Starting from the very first one, this one here. This one doesn't count because it's the turning chain. We insert the hook under the first loop, like this. We yarn over with our working thread. Pull the loop through. Now pay attention. I don't recommend pulling out a very long loop. It should be shortened. Without working it off, we insert the hook under the second loop. Pay attention, like this. Thank you. I grab the working yarn, pull out a not too long loop, and crochet the 3 loops on the hook together. This way, you'll maintain the tension of your crochet, which should be fairly tight. The bag will still turn out soft enough, but your stitches need to be tight enough. Next, we insert the hook under the chain where we just made a stitch. Yarn over, pull through without crocheting, then insert the hook under the next chain. Yarn over, now there are 3 loops on the hook, crochet them together. This chain is small, so we crochet exactly according to the pattern, only this time we go under the entire chain. Right here we insert the hook under the chains. Again, we insert it into the one we've already worked into, yarn over without crocheting, and then insert into the next one. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. And repeat our movements to the end of the row, repeating each such stitch. So insert into this one, into the one where we just made a stitch, pull up a working loop, not too long. Insert under the next one, pull up another loop, also not too long. Made the stitch, the loop is short. I've covered the basic fundamentals, and we continue like this to the end of the row. At the end of the row, we'll stitch together. And keep going. All right, let's continue. So the second row is almost done, just one last stitch left. Actually, the last 2 stitches, we insert the hook under the chain where we just made a stitch. Grab the working yarn and insert the hook under the last chain. Here it is. It's a bit slanted, not very clear, but it's there. Grab the working yarn, pull it through and make the stitch. And once again, in this last chain, simply make a single crochet without a yarn over. That is, insert the hook, pull through and make the stitch when you have 2 loops on the hook. Check yourself again, count the braids, you should have 33 of them. And in the turning chain, we turn around. At this stage, you can already measure the width, but I would recommend doing it after the 4th row since we've only done 2 so far. Watch carefully. The rows will alternate. One will be raised, the other will be indented inward. 1, 2. On this side, it's the opposite. The first is indented, the second is raised. I'll tell you about the front panels a bit later. We turn around. We crochet the same way under the braid. Insert the hook under the first one. Yarn over with the working yarn without crocheting under the second one. Yarn over, pull through, crochet 3 loops. Next one once, next one twice. Carefully crochet them. Again, insert into the last one you crocheted, pull through, insert, pull through. Crochet it. That is, every row and all the following rows are crocheted exactly the same way as I showed. The only difference will be the increases, decreases, and some details, which I will of course explain each time. This way we need to crochet 6 rows. We already have 2 rows. We need to crochet 4 more using the same pattern. Each row ends with a turning chain, don't forget. Let's crochet this 3rd row as well on our own, and then we'll finish the end together. We can also measure in advance to see what width we are getting, and then we'll move on to the 6th row on our own. After that, I'll explain what will happen next. So let's finish the 3rd row, making sure everything is in place, and we'll meet again. We're finishing the 3rd row. Insert the hook under the second to last chain, the one we've already worked into. Pull the working yarn through, insert into the next one, and pull through again. And we attach 3 loops to the hook. And we make another stitch with a regular single crochet at the end. Always. Girls, remember, we finish every row with this stitch so that we end up with 33 loops. Now we can measure the width of our workpiece. We take a measuring tape, place it, and check. Mine comes out to 26 centimeters. 26 centimeters, almost just a couple of millimeters short. In the latte colored bag, the width of this workpiece was 28 centimeters, around 28 centimeters. This is what I was talking about, that the cord density is different and the width varies, and this was expected, so my bag will theoretically be about 2 centimeters smaller, basically. For you, it's the same, so we aim for a width of 26 to 28 centimeters. If you end up with 29 centimeters, that's also fine, because there can be a margin of error in either direction. Got it? Now make a turning chain and crochet 3 more rows so that we have 3 rows completed. The first one is a front post, the second is a back post, the third is a front post. We need to crochet 3 more rows, and then I'll explain how we proceed from there. Work on your own and we'll meet up again. Okay, 6 rows are almost finished. Let's finish up. We make the last, or rather the second to last stitch and the final single crochet. Gently pull the yarn out just a little bit and then carefully cut it off. For now, don't weave it in or sew it down. I recommend weaving in the ends only after your fabric is finished and you can see what you have, because you might want to redo it, or you might not be satisfied with something, for example, and you'll need to change something. So for now, it's better to just secure it like this. And what is absolutely necessary is to singe the ends, because the ends can unravel. And this end on our skein should also be singed. Once again, let's check the final measurement. in terms of width. Mine expanded up to 26.5, and right here I have 5.5 centimeters. Yours may vary, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7. So everyone will have their own measurement. All right, now what do we do next? Let's count the rows so you can see. So when we already have 6 rows, we can see that we can count by twos. That is, a pair is a raised row, a recessed row, raised, recessed, raised, recessed. 1, 2, 3, 3 pairs. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 6 rows. Count whichever way is more convenient for you. Next, if we were to move on to the next row now, we would turn the knitting around. That's why our knitting is turned around like this. We will continue here now. But before that, I'll set the sides aside a bit. The knitting technique we're going to use will be a bit unique. There hasn't been a technique like this in my master classes yet, so we cast on 7 chain stitches just like we started our knitting from 0. So here is the starting one. I won't dwell on it anymore. If you need to, rewind and start from the beginning. And we cast on 7 chain stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one doesn't count, this one. There are 7 stitches. Next, we take our work. And we insert the hook under our first chain, right? The one I just showed you. So we finished the crochet again, cut the yarn, burned it like this, and hid it. Then we turned it around and crocheted 7 stitches. We insert the hook under the first chain. This is how it looks. Here it is, the first one. We grab the working yarn, and without crocheting, we insert into the next one. Pulled it through, crochet it. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we start crocheting 33 stitches just as we did before. We knitted the first one, now we knit the second one in the same way. We knit the third one, that is, here according to the pattern. Here we follow the familiar pattern, the one that we are so used to with you. Just like that. And we simply continue like this carefully to the end of this fabric, to the end of the row. We continue the ends together, that is here. Up to this point, we continue on our own. We've reached the end of the row, finishing up. The second to last stitch and the last one, which is the usual one with a top without a yarn over. So here we have 7 stitches in total. Next we have 33 stitches, which we will be working with. And we also cast on 7 chain stitches at the beginning. So here is our very last stitch, and now we crochet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the number 6, 7, and with a slight pause, the turning chain is number 8 respectively. We turn our work. Next, we continue following the pattern, starting from this chain. That is, just as we crocheted at the bottom, now we start crocheting the same way. So this is how the crochet piece looks when it is facing us directly. Now, we need to turn this chain over and carefully grab it, making sure we are holding it the right way. The top loops of each chain, just like we did at the beginning. We grab it, pull up a working loop, insert into the second one, grab, pull through, and crochet the 3 loops on the hook together. That's 1 stitch done. Now the next one. Insert the hook, pull through. Without finishing the stitch, insert under the next one. Pull through, crochet the 3 loops on the hook together. Insert again. The last one, Where we made the stitch, pull up a working loop. Insert under the next one, pull through, crochet together. Insert, pull through. Insert the needle, pull the yarn through, and then carefully knit the stitches together. Once again, insert the needle, then carefully pull the yarn through, insert the needle once more, and gently pull the yarn through again, then knit the stitches together. Once more, insert the needle into the very last stitch, making sure everything is aligned properly. I won't repeat it anymore. I hope it's clear. So we always start by inserting into that last chain where we've already made a stitch. Insert, pull through, insert, pull through, knit together the 3 loops on the hook. Now attention. So when we reach the transition to the fabric, how do we do it? We insert the hook into the last chain under the top bar where we've already made a stitch and pull up a working loop. Without finishing off, we insert the hook under the next one, and the next one is already a chain in the fabric. The first one, insert, pull through. We have 3 loops on the hook, we knit them together. So we've made a smooth transition. Next, follow the pattern. So as we continue with our work, we are carefully making stitches right under the chains, just as we have been doing before. The stitches are the same, like this. This is the transition we've made. Insert, pull through, stitch together. We continue on our own until the end of the row. Here I'll show the transition to this row of chains. So we've reached this section where we have 7 chain stitches. We finish up and I'll show the transition. On the fabric, we crochet in the same way. Next, we have another stitch, which is placed on the already crocheted fabric, just as we did before. So we've finished the last stitches on the fabric, and now we'll transition to the chains. We insert the hook into the last chain on the fabric, right where we just made the stitch. We pull out the working loop. Without fastening, we insert the hook under the first chain stitch from these 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one is our first. Yes, we make this chain stitch smaller and insert it. In the same way, we turn the chain stitch, and likewise under the top loops. We carefully yarn over with the hook, pull the yarn through, and then work off all 3 loops that are on the hook. Next, we insert the hook under this same loop on the chain, yarn over without working it, go under the next one. That is, we are already moving along where the chain stitches are, exactly the same way as we started the crochet. Everything according to the pattern. Insert into the one we've already worked, pull through. Without working it, insert under the next one. Pull through, work off. Insert. Yarn over, pull through. Insert, yarn over, pull through. Work off. Insert again. We continue crocheting like we have been doing all the way to the end, and then we'll carefully count our number of chains. We have just one left, so please do not touch the knot. Instead, gently insert the hook. There was no stitch in the very last one, and that is the one we need to work into. And we've worked it. And don't forget to make a regular single crochet stitch in this very last chain, right here. Don't make the turning chain yet. Count the chains starting from this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15,
16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, and finally 47. You should have 47 chains, 47 stitches. Check yourself, 47 is the correct number. This does not include the loop that's on the hook. We make a turning chain and turn around. All right, now we can count. Let's see how many rows we actually have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We have now crocheted a total of 8 rows. We are starting the 9th row. Crochet it the same way as we did here, working into every chain with our pattern, starting from the very first one. Here is our first chain. Insert the hook under it. Yarn over, pull up a working loop without finishing it. Insert the hook under the next one. Pull up a loop, then crochet all 3 loops on the hook together. Again, carefully insert, then gently pull up, insert, and pull up. Pay attention. Do not change the tension of your crochet, meaning it should be consistent throughout. This is important. Again, insert the hook under the same chain you already worked into, then, without finishing, insert it under the next one. Pull up a loop, crochet all 3 loops on the hook together. We crochet tightly, quite tightly. We'll knit together here, then I'll comment a little more about the density. Let's start. That is, here we already have monolithic knitting. We have already made this transition. We simply have a monolithic knitting. There are no specific points here. Yes, we knit. We knit together, creating beautiful things with our hands. This is how the picture turns out. Now regarding the knitting density. And if you notice that you get big holes here and here, it means you're not knitting tightly enough and you will need to do it over again. Small gaps are acceptable. Like these ones, they can be there. The lining will cover them. So it's not critical, but there shouldn't be any large holes. This is your reference for how the pattern should look. Basically, if you look at mine, it looks like this. Now please knit this 9th row on your own, taking your time. Starting from the 10th row, we will begin the increases. I will show you how to do the increases as we go along, and I will stop at each row to explain the steps. There will only be a few rows with these increases, not many. After that, we'll have a section of the fabric without increases, and then we'll move on to the shaping. Everything step by step. Now let's knit the 9th row and start making the increases. We'll meet at the end of the 9th row. Alright, we're finishing the 9th row. We're making the last stitches. And the last ones, the very last, here is our last chain, pay attention to it. So we insert the hook under the chain where we've already made a stitch and into this last one, which is a bit tight, but find it and make your stitch there. We've made this stitch and don't forget the last final touch. It's a single crochet. Just like that. Check your work. You should have 47 stitches here. Yes, 47 stitches. Be careful, check your work, especially if you're just starting to crochet. Make a turning chain. Row 10. Turn your work.
We will make 2 increases, one at the beginning and one at the end of the row. How do we do them? We find the very first chain, then insert the hook underneath it and carefully insert the hook underneath. Yarn over and make a regular single crochet stitch. Here is our increase. In the form of an extra loop. Next, we insert the hook here again, grab the working yarn, and without fastening it, insert the hook under the next chain. Pull it through and crochet it according to our pattern. And then to the end of the row, we continue as usual according to our pattern. That is, we insert the hook under each previous chain that has already been crocheted. Next, under each one that hasn't been crocheted yet, and crochet the 3 loops on the hook. Continue to the end of the row. At the end, I'll show you how to make an increase.
What does it look like at the end?
And then we'll move on. See you at the end. This is our 10th row. Alright, we've almost reached the end of the 10th row. Crocheting it now. Okay, the last chain is left. First, we crochet according to the pattern. Next, at the end of the row, we always make a single crochet. We make it now. And as an increase, we make one more single crochet into the same place. So we insert the hook, pull up a working loop and crochet it. That is, under the last chain, we crochet 2 single crochets. One is worked according to the pattern, and then 2 more single crochets. Now you should have 49 chains. So we've made 2 increases. So instead of 47, we now have 49. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. Here's the 49th stitch, carefully counted on the hook, and now we make a turning chain. We turn around. We knit the 11th row without any increases. That is, we find the first chain stitch. Here it is. Yarn over and insert into the next stitch. Yarn over. We've worked 3 loops on the hook. And according to the pattern, we continue to the end of the row without making any increases. We'll meet at the end of the row. We'll finish and move on to the next row, which will be the 12th already. And we'll keep going. So we've reached the end of the 11th row. We make the last stitch using the pattern. And the last stitch is a single crochet to even out the stitch count. We should have 49 stitches. Chain 1. Turn your work over carefully. The 12th row, once again, has 2 increases that need to be made. These increases are created in exactly the same way as before. That is to say, we make the very first increase directly under the very first chain, using a regular single crochet stitch, just as we have done previously. Take your time to ensure accuracy. Next, insert the hook into the same stitch, yarn over, without finishing the stitch, insert into the next stitch, pull through, and then crochet all 3 loops on the hook together. Then we continue crocheting according to our pattern. So we made the increase as a single crochet. Next, we follow the pattern to the end of the row. At the end of the row, we make an increase just like in the 10th row. I'll do it together with you. I will see you at the end of the row in a little while. So we've reached the end of the 12th row. We make the last stitch, or rather the very last stitch according to the pattern. Next, we make a single crochet stitch and then another single crochet as an increase. At this point, you should now have a total of exactly 51 stitches. Let's count.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. The loop that's on the hook does not count. We make a turning chain. Row 13. In the 13th row, we repeat the decreases, increases. We do the same pattern at the beginning and end. We crochet a single crochet under the first chain. This is our first increase. Next, we continue carefully according to our pattern, working in the same element under the chain, yes, and then moving on. Yes. We'll meet at the end. Here, we proceed in the same way. Similarly, we'll meet at the end. End of the 13th row. We make the last stitch according to the pattern. Next, a single crochet as the finishing element. And we make an increase. After the increases, you should have 53 chains. Please check yourself carefully. Make a turning chain, then turn your work. Row 14. We knit the 14th row without increases. Just according to our pattern, we insert the hook under the first chain, yarn over, under the second yarn over, and pull through. We continue to the end of the row without increases. Row 14. And we will have one more, the 15th row, where the last increases on the fabric will be made. So we will go through the 15th row together. And then I will explain how many rows we knit upwards, what we use as a reference, and what to pay attention to. I was guided by the number of rows, but in this place, right when shaping the fabric, Let's put it this way. I make allowances for the fact that our cords are of different thicknesses, so the finished product turns out differently. And I'll comment on this because I believe that here you can adjust the height. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's work to the end of the row without any increases, and then we'll continue. So the 14th row is done. I have completed it entirely, and here we should have 53. Knit and check yourself. A turning chain, and we move on to the 15th row. In the 15th row, we will make the last two increases on the base. Everything is identical by analogy. That is, we crochet a single crochet under the first chain. Next, we continue according to the pattern. Here as well, we insert the hook, grab the yarn, and crochet under the next chain. And we crochet all 3 loops on the hook together. We move to the end of the row. At the end of the row, we'll make one more increase together. Let's go. We're finishing row 15. We make a stitch. This is our pattern. Yes. Next, we make a single crochet stitch, just as we had planned earlier, carefully inserting the hook into the next stitch and pulling the yarn through. And another single crochet as an increase. And in the end, you should have 55 chains, like these. Be sure to check yourself. Count them, and with this, the increases on the fabric are finished. Let me pause a bit to explain what we have here, what this construction is, and what will happen with it next. Now, we will be working the fabric upwards for another 10 rows from the 16th to the 26th, but you might want to add a couple more rows. I'll pause at this point after I finish my 10 rows, and I'll tell you what we should end up with and what I personally want to achieve, okay? What we should have. This little corner right here, if you can see it, right? These 2 edges right here, which you can see, will be carefully sewn together, just like this, to form a neat seam. They should be more or less the same size.
And they are more or less the same size because I calculated these 7 stitches in advance, having analyzed this point. There might be an error of half a centimeter, but that's not a big deal, especially since we will still have an edging here, and in this spot you can add on, make it bigger, for example, if yours is shorter. But even if you have some mismatch, like half a centimeter, you can always adjust it and it will look fine. So perfectionism isn't necessary here. Here's what we do. We knit from row 16 to row 26 on our own without any increases, just 55 stitches in each row according to our pattern. Then we'll meet again, take some measurements, analyze, and I'll tell you whether I'll be knitting a few more rows or not. I think I will. Of course, I'll explain this point. So let's now go, proceed on to row 16, knit 10 rows on your own, and then we'll meet again and continue together. And then we'll move on to the instep. So let's knit. So while knitting, when you introduce a new thread, I'll show you how I do it. There are different ways to do it. I don't like to sew them together. I don't glue the cord together. I just like to introduce a new cord, and then when sewing in the ends, I sew both ends together. That's all for now. So let's look for a new one. It's already twisted. Twisting will actually get in the way later on. I just leave the end of the skein that ran out and continue knitting according to the pattern. I insert the hook under the chain where I've already worked a stitch. I grab the working yarn, the new one. Here I also have a tail.
I take the working yarn, continue knitting according to the pattern, and make the join. Of course, this yarn wants to stick out, yes. So that it doesn't come out anywhere, I temporarily tie these two ends together with 2 knots. It doesn't matter whether you have the right side or the wrong side here. Right now, it doesn't matter. We will sew in the ends right before joining, and I'll show how we, if this is the right side, how we bring the ends to the wrong side, how we sew them in, and none of this will be visible. There you go. This is my method for joining a new skein. You can use, I repeat, whichever method you know and prefer. And for beginners, use the method I'm showing you. All right, let's continue working on this part like this. I still have 4 more rows left here, and then I'll comment on the length, we'll measure it, and I'll share my thoughts on this, because basically I have a suspicion that I might knit it a bit longer, but we'll need to see how it looks proportionally. All right, let's finish knitting and meet up again. So 26 rows have been knitted upwards. Let's count. I'm counting by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. Now let's take measurements. As I already mentioned, cords have different densities, and now I'm going to compare the lavender cord with the latte cord, which I used to crochet the first bag. The width is measured where there are no more decreases or increases, right? That is along the straight part. I get 40. Let me check exactly. 46 centimeters. It comes out to 46 centimeters. And in the latte colored bag, it was 48 centimeters here. Plus, we'll still have the edging, but these measurements are taken without the edging. The height of this section, including the bottom, yes, right here I have, let me show you, 20.5 centimeters. Whereas in the latte color, I have 22 centimeters here. And the bottom width, once again, is 27 centimeters for me. 26.5 to 27 centimeters. Regarding the proportions, of course you can leave this part like this at 20.5 centimeters. But this piece will go to the bottom and we will have this height. And proportionally, of course, everything is noticeably smaller in size, so the bag itself will also be smaller as a result. However, I would still very much like to increase the height of this particular part, which, as you can see, will eventually form the base. This adjustment will help ensure that the base is more stable and provides better support for the overall structure of the bag. I will raise it by 2 rows. 2 rows is approximately about 2 centimeters. This way I will reach a height of 22.5 centimeters, give or take, just like the height in the original bag. But proportionally, it will look a little different. And at this point, I'll give you a bit of guidance. You can make this height a little bigger, for example. But please keep in mind this part here, this important rounding. The higher you make the bag, the more it will take on a certain shape and gradually change the overall look of the bag. So if you do make it higher, don't increase it by much. Now I will add 2 more rows, and I recommend adding an even number of rows so that you are working on the same side as me, because when I start making the increases, so that there is no confusion, I will sew it together so you can see everything and so that it looks identical for you. So that's why I'm finishing up 2 more rows. I'll measure again, and then we'll move on to making the increases for the bag. All right, I finished 2 more rows. Now I'm measuring the height. Oh, I have exactly 22 centimeters, perfect. Now we will be making 2 increases. A left increase and a right increase. That's what I'll be calling them. So we don't get confused, let's place a marker on this side anywhere you like. It will indicate that this is your front side. Let me draw your attention to these ends here, which I will hide later. I'll show you how. For now, we won't touch them. We'll start knitting from the left increase. And to avoid getting confused with the row count, right now I have 28 rows. You might have 26 rows, right? To avoid getting confused with the row count, we'll start the increases from the first, from number 1. So the first row of increases, the second row of increases, and so on. I'll talk through each row because in every row we'll be making decreases. They will be in different places and we will go through every single row together for both increases because they are also mirrored. So that's the situation. Now I'll carefully zoom in on the image and then we'll move on to knitting the left increase. Before we start knitting the left increase, please count your stitches once again. There should be 55. We need to make 2 markers. Count 21 stitches in this direction and 21 stitches in that direction and mark them with stitch markers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. The 21st one is marked with a marker. It's the same on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 21? Yes. This cutout right here will be our armhole, the place where your arm will go through. These are our increases. The armhole should be 13 centimeters, 13 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's correct. So let's move on to knitting. I've increased a little bit. We turn our knitting carefully and we will gently move according to our pattern. So starting from the very first row of increases, there will be decreases. The decreases will be made following the pattern. At the beginning of the row, you simply skip 1 chain,
At the end of the row, you don't finish the stitch without a sign, which we always complete when working this pattern. In the first row, we will have 2 decreases, at the beginning and at the end. That is, we skip the first one. We skip the chain we were supposed to crochet into and insert the hook under the second chain. Again, we skip the first one like this and insert the hook under the second, yarn over, and without finishing, we insert into the next one, pull through and crochet all 3 loops on the hook together. That's it. The first decrease is done, and then we continue to the end of the row following the pattern. And at the end of the row, right here, we will crochet them together. We make a decrease and move on to the second row of increases, heading towards the marker that we placed earlier as a guide. At this point, we are carefully working our way through the pattern, making sure each step is completed as instructed. So we've almost reached the end of the first row of the left increase, finishing up this section and preparing to move forward, ensuring that everything remains aligned and accurate as we continue. And now we have the last unworked chain left, number 21, where the marker is. We crochet according to the pattern. And we do not make the last single crochet. This will be our decrease. So instead of 21 stitches, you should now have 19. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, we make a turning chain. We turn our work. What I also suggest is to place a marker on this first row of the left increase so that you can periodically recount and not get confused. Placing a marker here is helpful because it gives you a clear reference point, making it easier to keep track of your progress as you continue. Whenever you finish a few rows, you can look back at the marker to double check your work and make sure you are on the right track. This simple step can help prevent mistakes and make your project go more smoothly. And it's easier when you can visually see where your first row is. It will be faster to count. Second row. In the second row, the decrease will only be here at the end of the row. At the beginning of the row, we knit as usual. So we find the first one here. Insert the hook into the first braid, pull it through, then insert it into the second braid and pull it through. We've worked 2 stitches, there are 3 loops on the hook, and we continue crocheting according to our pattern to the end. At the end, we'll simply leave 1 single crochet unfinished. We'll do this together, of course, so there's no confusion. For those who find this easy, you can just look at the calculations and crochet without the video. We'll meet here. This is the end of the second row of increases. We crochet the last 2 braids, and we do not crochet the single crochet stitch at this step. So we have a decrease here, and at this point you should have 18 braids. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We make a turning chain and turn our work. In the third row, we have 2 decreases, one at the beginning and one at the end. In the same way, we skip the first chain here and insert the hook into the second one and start crocheting our pattern according to the chart, but starting from the second chain. And we will have another decrease at the end of the row. Crochet to the end of the row, there together. So that's the end of the third row. The last stitch. And here we also have a decrease. We don't make a single crochet here. We should have 16 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Chain 1, turn your work for the 4th row. The 4th row is worked without decreases. That is, we crochet all 16 stitches. We start with the first one, yes, insert the hook, pull through, then the second one, crochet it. We continue to the end of the row, and at the end of the row, we will also crochet our single crochet, which evens out our stitch count. Let's keep going to the end. We'll meet here. So that's the end of the 4th row. Notice that we've already started to get a slant here. How can you tell? You're looking specifically for the chain stitch. The last chain stitch means that the last stitches will be made here. Let me remind you that the fourth row does not have any decreases, so after working the pattern we finish with a single crochet stitch. And we should end up with the same 16 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Chain 1, turn your work. In the fifth row, we will have a decrease at the beginning of the row, but there will be no decreases at the end. So we skip the first chain, this one here, insert the hook into the second one, and continue crocheting with our pattern. Crochet to the end of the row. At the end, don't forget to crochet a single crochet because we won't have a decrease here. Let's do this together. At the end of the fifth row, remember, we crochet here without any decreases. So our last stitch is a single crochet. Chain 1, let's move on to the sixth row. In the sixth row, we have a decrease at the end. At the beginning, we crochet without any decreases. That is, we start crocheting from the very first chain. The first stitch. And we continue like this until the end. At the end of the row, we'll make a decrease together. So we've reached the end of the sixth row, and here we have a decrease, which means we don't make the last single crochet. We should have 14 stitches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's correct. The turning chain is done. We crochet 14 stitches here without any decreases. That is, we start from the very first stitch and make a single crochet at the end. And this is our seventh row. Knit on your own. We'll meet at the end. Finish the seventh row with a single crochet. And here, at this point, you should also have a total of 14 stitches in your work. Chain 1 to turn your project around. Eighth row. And here we'll have a decrease at the end of the row. So here we start, as we usually do, from the very first chain in our project. Then after that, we continue working all the way to the end of the row, making sure to keep our stitches even and consistent. When we reach the end of the row, at that point, we make a decrease, just as we have done before. We'll meet again at the end of the row, so keep going until you get there. All right, now we are at the end of the 8th row, and we are finishing up this section together. Great job making it this far. The last chain is our indicator that this is the final stitch here. And at the end of the 8th row, we make a decrease. That is, we don't crochet our single crochet stitch, but immediately make a turning chain. The transition to the 9th row is without any decreases. The 9th row is worked without decreases, and you should have 13 stitches. Here, there should be 13 formed, and in the 9th row as well. We crochet without decreases. And we will continue further. We finish the 9th row according to the pattern, and the last stitch is our single crochet. There should be 13 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13. We make a turning chain, which helps us keep the correct height for the next row, and then turn around so we can continue working in the opposite direction, following the pattern as we go. In the 10th row, we will have 2 decreases, one at the beginning and one at the end. We do it exactly the same way as before. Here we skip the first chain and crochet into the second and third, like this. We move to the end of the row. At the end, we leave one single crochet unfinished. End of the 10th row. We also have a decrease here. That means we don't finish our single crochet, and there should be 11 chains here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Turning chain. Row 11. The decrease will be on this side at the beginning of the row. We skip the first stitch, insert the hook under the second chain, and continue in the same way. There will be no decrease at the end, so here we crochet a single crochet stitch. See you at the end. At the end of the 11th row, we finish with a single crochet stitch. You should have 10 stitches, 10 crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turning chain. Row 12. The decrease will be at the end of the row. No decreases here. So we keep crocheting, starting from the first chain, following our pattern, and at the end, we simply don't finish the last single crochet stitch. See you at the end. At the end of row 12, finish according to the pattern and make a decrease, meaning you don't complete the last single crochet stitch. The turning chain has turned. Row 13, the decrease will be at the end. At the beginning, we don't do any decreases. Let's keep going. To the end. We have now just finished the end of row 13 according to the pattern. And here we have a decrease at this spot, so we don't finish the last single crochet stitch. For the turning chain here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 stitches. Row 14. We will have a decrease at the end. At the beginning, we knit without decreases, that is, starting from the first chain. Let's knit. We've almost reached the end. The rows at the end have clouds. So we just finished with single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We end up with 7 single crochets, and we have the last 2 rows left, 15 and 16. Row 15. The butterfly will be right here, so it's not necessary at the beginning. We crochet according to the pattern, and at the end, we don't finish it, meaning no single crochet. We've reached the end, so now crochet the last element carefully according to the pattern and do not make the single crochet stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 chains, then a turning chain. And this is our last row, and there will be a decrease at the end. And we'll have 5 stitches left, 5 chains. We crochet according to the pattern. Make sure your tension stays the same. Watch carefully so that no holes form in your work. For the last stitch, and here we do not quite finish the single crochet, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chains left. Now we gently pull out the tail, a small one. We cut it off. We hide it. So if you finish like this, then we hide it. Insert the hook under the 2 corner loops, like this. You can actually do it in different ways, but I like to pull it out here on the side. I grabbed the tail and carefully pulled it through. This way, it will lie like this for us. Later, we'll crochet it in or sew it down. Now we'll just carefully seal the end with a flame so it doesn't unravel, and then leave it to cool. So this is the kind of rise we ended up with. Measure the total height of the piece, including the rise, to get the final measurement. That is, from this edge to this one. So mine comes out to 35 centimeters, 3 about 4.5 or so. It actually matches the height of the latte colored bag, just 5 millimeters less. There you go. Now we move on to the left, or rather the right rise. So the piece is facing us like this. The left side is done, my left hand is here. Now we move to the right side. And so our piece is now facing us directly with the front side clearly visible to us, just like this. We need to turn it to the wrong side. We take the working yarn along with our crochet hook and carefully insert the hook underneath the chain at the spot where the orange marker is placed, which is where you have marked the 21st stitch. Gently grab the tail and slowly pull it through like that. The tail will stay on the outside for now. Without tying it, we insert the hook under the next chain. Pull it through and you have 2 loops on the hook. This is our first join, and it's already here, and it also counts as a decrease. You'll understand why later. Because if we didn't make a decrease here, we would be starting with one, start knitting 1 braid earlier. Now we continue according to the pattern until the end. At the end, we also have a decrease, and we should end up with 19 stitches. So we knit everything identically according to the pattern. And on the 19th stitch, at this point, we should finish this row. See you at the end. End of the first row of the right rise. And here we also have a decrease, so we crochet according to the pattern and do not crochet our single crochet stitch. We count the chains, pay attention, this chain here, not this one. And the one that's slanted, we count it as a stitch. We need this chain here, that's the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. We make a turning chain and move on to the second row. I also recommend marking the first one with a marker on the side of the heel. In the second row, we'll have a decrease right here at the beginning. There will be 1 decrease. We skip the first stitch, insert the hook into the next chain, and crochet according to the pattern. Continue on your own to the beginning to the end of the row. And at the end, we carefully finish the end of the second row together. Once again, I want to draw your attention to the fact that this slanted chain, the one we started with, is not actually a chain stitch. It's like a post, so we don't touch it. We finish crocheting with a single crochet into the chain that was right before it. You should end up with 18 posts, 18 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Turning chain. In the third row, we make decreases on both sides. at the beginning and at the end. So we skip the first chain, insert the hook under the second, and crochet according to the pattern. At the end, we will also make a decrease. We'll do it together at the end, and here we crochet to the end of the row on our own now. So we've reached the end of the third row. According to the pattern, we crochet the last fragment, and here we have a decrease. That means we do not crochet a single crochet here. Check yourself, there should be 16 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Turning chain. The next fourth row is without any decreases. So we crochet 16 stitches. According to the pattern, don't forget our single crochet at the end. Continue on your own. And then we'll continue together. Finish the fourth row, make the last single crochet. You should have 16 stitches here. Please check yourself. Chain 1, turn your work. In row 5, we'll have 1 decrease at the end of the row, so at the beginning we don't decrease anything. Start crocheting from the first chain and make a decrease at the end. Work this part on your own and we'll do the decrease together. So at the end, we'll make a decrease at the end of the 5th row. That's why we crochet according to the pattern and do not work the single crochet stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You should end up with columns. Chain 1, turn your work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The decrease is at the beginning. At the end, we do not decrease. That is, we skip the first stitch and insert the hook under the second chain. We knit carefully and attentively according to the pattern. We'll meet at the end of the row. So we're finishing up the 6th row. Here at the end, we don't make a decrease, so we crochet a single crochet stitch, and we should end up with 14 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Turning chain. Row 7 will be worked without decreases, so we crochet all 14 sections according to our pattern, and at the end, don't forget the single crochet stitch. So we finish at the end of row 7. Let me remind you, we don't decrease anything here, just crochet our single crochet stitch. You should have 14 chains. Turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Row 8. The decrease is made at the beginning of the row. We skip the first chain, insert the hook into the second, and crochet according to the pattern. There will be no decrease at the end of the row. Continue on your own and we'll meet up again. End of row 8, no decreases. Now simply crochet a single crochet stitch. You should have a total of 13 stitches here at this point in your work. Please make sure to count them carefully to ensure accuracy. Turning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We simply crochet row 9 as usual without making any decreases. That is, we keep all 13 stitches. We'll meet again after row 9. Finish row 9 with a single crochet stitch. You should have 13 stitches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Turning chain. Row 10. We have 2 decreases, one at the beginning and one at the end. Skip the first chain at the beginning, insert the hook under the second one, and crochet according to the pattern. And at the end, we'll also make a decrease together. At the end of row 10, we also have a decrease here. We do not crochet the last single crochet stitch. We make a turning chain, turn the work, and crochet without decreases to the end. At the end, we make a decrease. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. In the previous row, we crochet to the end without decreases, and at the end there will be a decrease. So at the end of the 11th row, we make a decrease, meaning we simply don't finish our last stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We end up with 10 stitches, the turning chain, and the decrease will be at the beginning here. So we skip the first chain, insert the hook into the second, and crochet. According to the pattern to the end of the row, the end is without decreases, so we crochet according to the pattern plus a single crochet stitch. And here we should already have 9 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Turning chain. In row 13, we make a decrease at the beginning. We skip the first chain, insert the hook into the second one. And the decrease is only here, meaning we don't make a decrease at the end. We continue crocheting. End of the row. There was no increase here. We make the last stitch with a single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 stitches. Turning chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Moving on to row 14, we have a decrease at the beginning, which means we skip the first chain, insert the hook into the second, and crochet to the end of the row. The decrease is only in one place. Yes, and for the last stitch, we make a single crochet. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we have the last 2 rows left, 15 and 16, turning chain. So in row 15, we have a decrease right here at the beginning. We skip the first chain, insert the hook into the second, and continue crocheting according to the pattern. Tuck. There will be no decrease at the end. So at this point, we now carefully make our single crochet, turning chain. And the last 16th row in the granny stitch, at the beginning we skip the first chain, insert the hook under the next one, and finish crocheting to the end of the row. And one more single crochet, just like before, that's it. The right side rise is now completely finished. We handle the yarn end in exactly the same way as before. Carefully hide it under the heavy rusted chains to keep it out of sight. More precisely on the side. Just like this, we tuck it in from the side. It doesn't matter where they come out. They'll stick out a bit like a fringe. We'll deal with them later. So on the right side, we've secured it. Our first piece is almost ready. It will still need an edging. You can crochet another one like this and then do the edging on both, or you can do the edging first and then crochet another identical piece. Here the main element of our bag is crocheted and ready. We'll sew in the ends a bit later. I'll show you how to do it with 1 or 2 ends and then we'll do the rest by analogy.